in your thoracic and the diaphragmatic region. And watch the intentions of even movement, even slightest of the movement due to your breath. Be in this moment. Letting go of all that which you have done throughout the day. Enjoy this moment of silence. We'll recite the prayer all together. If you know it, you chant it mentally. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste to all of you. You can open your eyes. So thank you very much, Yoga Ashram, Kavitaji, who has organized this. And we are going to share some good time discussing or having interaction on the some of the concepts of yoga. Mainly, before we start, because it is the occasion of International Yoga Day, which is the 6th International Yoga Day we are celebrating on 21st of June. And before that, we are all coming into this spirit of celebration. It's like, if you know Indian weddings, then in Indian weddings, we have some pre-wedding programs. So it's something like that. The idea that is given to me is to discuss upon mental hygiene. And let's see what is the need of that, especially when the whole world is behind sanitization, cleaning, and there's a mass movement of cleaning and sanitization is going on all over the world. And they are claiming that if we can wash our hands, if we can clean ourselves, then we can keep the virus away. It's a very good idea to do that if it really works. And this is not something new that we didn't know this from the ages. We know that cleaning is very important. Hygiene, personal hygiene, physical hygiene is very important. And some of the countries, they spend a large sum of money on sanitization, cleaning, and they spend energy, time, and money in it. But the burning question of the hour is that we have done this much sanitization, this much cleaning of the external world, means this is more or less going on right now, that wherever you are cleaning it several times in a day. And what we have done to clean the internal or the mental aspect. What are the parameters? What are the precautions? What are the uh, models that are presented to clean ourselves internally? We all spend a lot of time and energy on cleaning our bodies, cleaning ourselves, clean clothes, and various kinds of cosmetic and other products. It's a huge industry which is based only on physical hygiene. And one very interesting thing we see in the society is that we do all that cleaning, but if there is a chance we can pollute ourselves by some thought, we are ready to it. At the same time, we have done this much of cleaning at the physical level, we have increased the ways of mental impurities and all that development that has happened in our society. It is actually polluting our internal systems. So this is a very burning question, and how it exactly happens. I will give you an example of that. When we are talking to, when we meet someone, and if this person has a habit of speaking some gossip of the people around, this person will have large number of friends in that area, because everyone is interested to know about others' life. Means we eagerly wait to be polluted. Means this is such a interesting thing. We wait that somebody comes and pollutes us. And if you don't find anyone all day to pollute you, you feel so uncomfortable about that. The day is boring. There's nothing in the day that you have done. If you don't find anything or anyone who does pollute you, it's boring. And in this lockdown time, we have experienced that we had been scrapped, cut off from all kinds of gossips. We don't know what is happening in others' life. We don't know anyone comes and tells me here and there and the stories. So if this is the case, then it is a really serious problem that we have to look into. That what is that which makes me pollute myself, which I will do something to pollute myself. So people will do all the work all day. Sorry, there was some disturbance. Can you hear me now? Okay, so in this time, the situation is that when we are facing ourselves and we see all the things happening inside us, all the impurities that we had in our minds, in this lockdown period, they have come up. Means there is nobody to pollute us from outside. That's why this is the time when people are facing number of psychological issues, anxiety, depression, fears, many problems are experienced by the people in this particular time. The reason is that all the impurities that we have already absorbed, and we are not able to put new impurities, we are able to bring all those impurities up. And also, when somebody who does the work in our normal days, we will come back home exhausted already, and we will turn on the television and pollute ourselves again. Means I am already tired physically, mentally, and then I will expose myself to all the means that will further pollute me by watching TV, by intoxicating, by doing number of activities. People will remain awake all night. All these things are fine, but what is important to see that how much I'm eager to pollute myself, to make myself impure. It means that we have a system in which we have all the parameters, all the ways, all the methods to clean physically, but somehow our society has failed not to give us any practical means to clean the mental impurities. And this is where the application of the yogic methodologies come into the play. Now, this is a very interesting concept when we start to look at Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, Hatha Yoga Pradipika, Bhagavad Gita, or any of the texts. We find they are primarily dealing with mental hygiene. And one of the example, there are a number of examples that we can take from Yoga Sutras, and one of the important ones on which the entire Ashtanga Yoga is based upon, it is this sutra which says Yogang Anushtanad Ashuddhikshaye Jnana Deeptira Vivek Khyati. Now, in this sutra, we find a word which says Ashuddhi. What is the meaning of Ashuddhi? Ashuddhi is impurity. Now, I'll explain the meaning of the sutra. The sutra is saying, by dedicated practice of limbs of yoga, Yogang Anushtan, means by dedicated practice of limbs of yoga. So limbs of yoga are Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. These are the 8 limbs. On the basis of it, it is known as Ashtanga Yoga, propounded by, says Patanjali. And this sutra is the beginning of the method of purification. And they say, if we want to illuminate the discriminative faculty within us, then what we need to do is to remove the impurities, and that inner light will shine. It's a beautiful sutra which actually gives the clarity on this whole idea of hygiene at a very, very subtle level, not merely the physical hygiene. When they are saying Ashuddhi, they do not only mean the impurities of the body, because when this development of the microbes or bacteria or some kind of this infections has happened, one wrong message went to us that body and mind are separate, because in modern allopathic system, they separate the body and the mind. So they say if you have any problem, any disease, any acute symptoms of any disease, you treat that symptom, means treat body separately. So if you have headache, then for the headache, you have one tablet. So the problem will be resolved. Now, this has given a wrong message to the entire generation that if I have any physical problem, then I have to deal with it physically, and most of the diseases, according to this system of medicine, are caused by bacteria. And if I can kill the bacteria, I am healthy. This is such a negative approach to cure, to health. It is entirely focused on bacteria and killing the bacteria. And since the bacteria is a physical entity, so method is also physical. So the entire focus went on sanitization, cleaning, and hygiene. Because if we can remove that, there will be no disease and we will be healthy. But in last 30, 40 years, after seeing all the work that we have done, we have come to this experiential conclusion that by merely killing the bacteria, you are not going to get healthy. And that's where this Patanjali's concept of Ashuddhi, impurity, comes into play. And we must take time to understand this concept of Ashuddhi or impurity. So according to the Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, these impurities, so he's saying, by dedicated practice of limbs of yoga, impurities are removed. Now, this is one thing. So half work of the practice in yoga is removal of impurity. Now, all practices, all the yogangas are having something inherent in it, that it cleans, it purifies, it removes the impurity. Now, take any of the practice. It may be the asana practice, and asana practice is also cleaning the impurity. Now, the wrong message again went to the population is, if you practice asana, you are only cleaning the physical impurity. This is again a false message, because asana is associated with the body, and again we go to the same idea of the bacteria killing, and here we are killing this body by doing excessive of asanas. Like some people do this, not all, but yes, a wrong message is there. So name the practice in yoga, it has something to do with purification, it has something to do with cleaning, removal of impurities. This sutra which I said is in Yoga Sutra, chapter 2, 28th sutra, if you want to refer it. You can go and open the book of Yoga Sutra, and then you can understand that better. If you don't catch my words, because I use Sanskrit words, but I'm trying to explain the meaning. It is Ashuddhi means impurity. So this is the half part of the practice of yoga, working with the impurities and removing the impurities. Remaining half is nothing. Here, there's no doing is required. So when this is done, naturally, when the impurities are removed, what happens? Jnana Deeptira Vivek Khyati. That this inner illumination of discriminative faculty will happen. Means this is going to happen just merely by removing the impurity, we clean. And that inner illumination, that shining, that faculty of awareness in us, which is able to put the things into the right perspective, is inner illumined, that we can see it. Now, this is the whole idea of this talk, that what Patanjali is proposing here, he is proposing a way of psychosomatic approach to hygiene. We don't have to go to this uh, extreme way of understanding. Some people say that my heart is clean, I don't need to clean my body. This is nonsense, it's stupid, because you need to clean your body too. So we cannot take this one-sided approach, lopsided approach of purification or hygiene, neither physical nor mental. This approach has to be psychosomatic. This approach has to be in the middle. And this is what exactly Patanjali has proposed in his Yoga Sutras and in his Ashtanga Yoga. So mainly, if we see the kinds of impurities, then these impurities can be at the body level. There are number of practices that specifically focus on the physical cleaning, but not forgetting that while we are doing that physical cleaning, it also has an impact on the psychological cleaning or emotional cleaning or mental cleaning. Another one is cleaning of chitta. Chitta here is something to do because our life, which we see in this conscious state, is tiny part of it is conscious. Most part of it is governed by the unconscious. So when Patanjali is talking about chitta, he's talking about cleanliness or purification of that conscious to subconscious to unconscious to collective unconscious. That much cleaning has to be done. That's why they use the word chitta, the purification of chitta, and it's a huge work because there are many levels of chitta, right from collective unconscious, unconscious, subconscious, preconscious, and to the conscious. So all these and up to the sense organs, up to the senses. So the range of chitta is very big. That's where comes the purification of chitta. And third is, it is called bhava. Bhava should be that also we have to pay attention on. And this is exactly about that mental hygiene we are meant to speak about, that this hygiene is something to do with our bhav. Bhav means intention, not only your physical action, not only your thinking, but what is behind that, what is underlying cause of that mental thought, that also need to be corrected, that also need to be purified. If we don't do that, then this deha shuddhi and chitta shuddhi will not take place, because it's like going into the deep of the root of a tree. If you want to remove it, then you have to start working. Yes, we have to work from both ways, that we have to cut the branches, we have to cut the small pieces, and then we also need to go to the roots. When we go all together and it's a holistic approach, then only this proper cleaning will happen. And so this is the idea that the Yoga Sutras are giving to us. So all practices, it doesn't matter, name the practice and it has something to do with it. And either of these three, it will cover everything. There is no four kind of possibility in my knowledge. If we can do this, then everything is done. So the whole idea of this is also one of the worst that has happened over the time, that we have developed a habit, or you can say it is coming from that approach of medicine where you have one disease and you have one particular solution, and as number of as diseases, as number of medicine. And it is giving a false idea to us that we have to fix each problem individually. Now, this is not possible because life throws innumerable challenges and problems, and if you go and solve problem by problem, this is not going to be a healthy way. So the yogic methods are actually not focusing on the individual problem, but they focus on the fundamental problem. And if we know how to solve that, then we can solve any problems by ourselves. So this method is given in the Yoga Sutra, and there are many techniques given for that. So one of the important thing is shaucha, cleanliness in the Yoga Sutra as a part of niyama. Very powerful sutra. Whatever we are taught by this COVID-19, actually, if we read this sutra very carefully, it is already there. It says that if you really follow the niyama of cleanliness, shaucha, you will develop disgust towards all the people around you. Not to be taking it in a negative sense, because it is providing a very intense approach to cleaning. It is saying that when you do this cleaning and you clean yourself, you clean your body, then you find over the time, oh my God, I have been cleaning it so much. And still the same amount of mucus, still the same amount of impurities. What is this? So you go into this thought process of looking deep inside, that whether am I going to be clean? And a kind of disgust will arise. So it says Shochat Swang Jugupsa Parair Sansargaha, that's what they are saying, have this physical distance of 1 meter from the people. So we had namaste rather than hugging or kissing someone unknown socially, because we knew that no matter how good cosmetics this person wears, how nice makeup this person puts, we are ultimately the same inside. So having a certain distance is better. So this is one thing in this cleanliness. And then another sutra that says Sattva Shuddhi Somanashika. Sattva Shuddhi. When we are going to clean ourselves, then these three gunas, Sattva, Raja and Tama, there will be rise of Sattva inside us, purity inside us. And this is something psychological. It is not merely physical. So when we do this cleaning or any purificatory processes of yoga, they not only clean the physical body, but they will bring the awareness internally to all those impurities and removing those impurities, even the psychological ones. And that's where we are able to deal with all kinds of psychological or emotional or all kinds of tensions and disorders in our lives. So what has happened in the past with this other approaches of cleaning, they said, okay, if you catch cold, then this cold is a symptom, and because this running nose seems looks very bad and it's not so nice from the social point of view, so you do something that this liquid that is running out of the nose will stop, and that's the relief. So the sequence, I am trying to show you the sequence, that how one small mistake will lead to where. If we suppress the cold, it will lead towards cough. Then this person who has this running nose and you take a tablet, this tablet will not cure your cold, but dry up that mucus and it will become thick, and that becomes cough. Now, if it happens frequently, then what will happen? That as and when you get this running nose, you take the tablet, suppress it. So the amount of mucus in your body is increasing. And it is so frequent that your body does not have enough time to recover and purify and clean. This will convert into sinusitis over the time. And this sinusitis, if it continues over the time for a few years, nobody can stop you from having asthma. Now, a small problem of running nose, acute cold becomes, according to them, chronic disease called asthma, and they say it can be managed, cannot be cured. Now, who is responsible? What kind of cleaning has been done? Does this cleaning, actually this way, approach of cleaning has led to this big chronic disease called asthma? Now, this is one approach that these people has, that is what the common and popular approach that we have in our society, that people are doing such things. And this is not going to correct the problems. And now what happens that when we undergo this kind of state again, then our immunity will start to reduce. If we have suppressed these all the symptoms over the time, it becomes a chronic disease, and then our own capacity, healing capacity, or this innate power within us to heal is also suppressed, and we lower our immunity. And once this immunity is lowered, then any kind of virus attacks, you will be susceptible and you will be at risk. Now, this is not something immediate that, okay, now this is the time of Corona, COVID-19, and then you do your cleaning and protect yourself. No, it's a time-taking process. It depends on the healthy habits. And if you have had these healthy habits, then you can change something about it. So the main thing about, now, if we look into this cold, now I'm talking about the mental aspect, that not every cold that we get is because of the weather problems or because of the pollens or because of the dust. It is not. We catch the cold a lot of times due to psychological reasons. So now by this 21st century, the scientists and the doctors, those who have highly interested in understanding the mechanism of psychosomatic diseases, they have come to this conclusion that over 90% diseases are psychosomatic in nature. Means that even if we have cold, acute cold, and if it happens frequently, then we need to look deeper. It is not because of the dust, it is not because of the pollens, it is not because of change in weather. But there is something deeper inside us that we have to inquire and correct that, then only this problem can be corrected. Otherwise, we are going to get this cold, and then we will convert into a chronic problem in few years. Because no asthma or sinusitis happen in a short amount of period of time. It takes long time to actually get the sinusitis and asthma. So what is that psychosomatic aspect? What we have observed that especially the kids, and number of kids, they have asthmatic attacks when they are very young. Especially this tension begins because of the fear of separation with mother. And at that age, they will develop the seed of this acute cold. So because of the tension, because of the fear, all the systems inside them will uh, move, and they have an intense amount of emotion. Now, how do we deal with that emotion? It will depend on that if this cold is going to cure or it is going to convert into a psychosomatic disorder. Most of the time, the children and the parents both does not know what to do with that emotion that this child is having. And normally we tell the child and suppress the tears of the child by making child forget about it, by giving chocolate, by threatening, by scolding, and we use the child is already having fear, and we use the fear mechanism, or we use some negative ways. The emotion, the fear, the tension is buried inside. Now, what to do with it? The seed is already placed in. Now, once this seed of fear, this emotion, this tension is uh, rooted, then no matter how many times you scrape the branches, it's going to multiply exponentially. Because if you cut the branches, they grow faster. And that's how this small problem of cold at the age of 2, 3 will convert into asthmatic attacks when the child is going to school. And by the age of 10, which is already from the Ayurvedic point of view, this is the time of kapha up to the age of 12. So this continue to increase. And by the age of 12, the children will develop themselves some understanding, some strategies how to overcome that emotion, whatever, whether it is aggression or suppression or whatever the mechanism they have. And according to that, this child will know and will improve the immunity. So normally it is found that after the age of 12, the problem of this asthma attacks will minimize and this person will feel a little better at this age. And by the time, now it depends on the kind of experiences this person is having. If this is happening, if the life still continues to be stressful, by the age of 20, 25, depends on what kind of experiences this person is undergoing, this disease will manifest. If nothing, if everything goes well, and if you are able to manage your life, at the age of 45, when you are at the peak of your career, asthma come back. Now what happened? How come you solved this problem at the age of 12, and at the age of 45, now all those fears, tensions, emotions has come back, and you start to take, because they say, oh, this is the age effect and your hereditary, maybe your father, maybe your mother, and blah blah blah, and there is no other way, you take the inhaler. And that is how we continue to multiply. So this is not only about asthma, any of the psychosomatic diseases like heart diseases, like blood pressure, insomnia, depression, anxiety, nothing is different than this process. The process is exactly the same. Expressions could be different to the different people. Now, this is what I said. If you go and solve problem individually of asthma, and then you have something else, then you have something else, then there is no life. What are you going to do with this? You are constantly running from one problem to another and solving it, then your life is hell. It is better to know the cause of it, deep cause of it, and resolve the issues from there. And this is exactly what is offered through the practices of yoga. It does not matter what practice. Now, if you go and Kavita ji, please tell me that I have this problem. One person goes and Kavita ji say, okay, do the Bhramari Pranayam and your problem is resolved. Fine. The second person goes and asks the Kavita, okay, Kavita, I have another problem. Can you tell me what to do? Kavita says, do the Bhramari Pranayam. And then third person comes, and then he says, I also have a problem. Kavita says, do the Brahmari Pranayam. And now these three people meet together once, having a coffee, telling wonderful experience that they had of Brahmari Pranayam. Kavita ji said. And then the three discuss, oh my God, does she know anything else than Brahmari Pranayam? Because, oh yeah, benefit, definitely all 3% got, and they are so happy about it. Kavita is a great teacher, blah, blah, blah. When they found out, oh my God, she only knows Brahmari Pranayam. It means what? What? She's cheating us. Sorry. Actually, the problem is not this, that the strategy that Kavita has suggested. The whole thing is that it is about our inner mechanism. When you do this Brahmari Pranayam, or maybe Kavita is fond of Yoga Nidra, so anyone who has any problem goes to Kavita, and Kavita says that do Yoga Nidra. So 5 people goes, and Kavita's answer is same, Yoga Nidra. The same thing. It does not matter which technique you take, because the process is same. What is the process? Let me remind you. The process is that if we have impurities, so very first thing is cleaning the impurities. Now, all methods of yoga, it doesn't matter it is Yoga Nidra or Brahmari or Nadi Shodhan or Kapalbhati, no matter what you do, they all do primarily purification. Okay, now once you have purified, then constantly you are exposed to this attack of the problems again. So does your life is only to clean? You are going to be cleaner all your life? Then smart people will say, I will put some way that the impurity doesn't go in. So in Corona, COVID-19, we have learned one thing: if you put mask, filter, then the impurity will not enter inside. And those filters are also the same practices. Something deeper into it, working with all those psychosomatic disorders that you clean, which is necessary, like you do cleaning every day, every morning of your body and your house. If you clean once in a week yourself and your house, then you can imagine what is the result. But if you clean every day your body, your house, and you have the windows, you close them when not in use. You have the many different ways of protection so that the dust, the impurity does not enter inside. Now, what are those filters that we can place into our minds that these impurities does not enter? So we have this double work: protect from the new impurities, minimize them, and then cleaning the previous impurities. It's a double bind approach that we have in the system of yoga. The same practices, or with little bit changes in it, they work like that. They prevent. How they prevent? They put a lot of filters, and these filters are psychological. You don't always need a mask, because only putting the mask on your nose and mouth does not prevent you from the mental impurity. Even if you close everything, your eyes, ears, nose, everything, still you are infected. So what are the filters? So these filters are placed into our psychosomatic system by correct psychological attitudes. And these psychological attitudes are the filters. By those filters, you know what is nonsense, you don't allow it. It comes and it falls to your filter, and you say it is nonsense. Don't spend your time, don't spend your energy on it, because it is going to pollute me. And these all the filters are One of the very interesting and very powerful filter given in the Yoga Sutra, if you still want to refer the Yoga Sutra book, you can go into the chapter 1, Sutra number 33. It says, Maitri Karuna Muditopekshanam Sukh Dukh Punya Apunya Bhavana Tas Chitta Prasadhanam. It's a way of protecting, or in a way, what is that? Cultivating an attitude of friendship to those who are happy, compassion to those who are miserable, joy to those who are meritorious, and an attitude of indifference to those who seems to be sinful. These are the four very powerful filters. Not only filters, but they are such a beautiful way of transformation. Cultivating the attitude of friendship, compassion, joy, equanimity, or indifference. When we are cultivating that, we prevent 100% problems of our life. Now, this is not about a belief, but it is a practice. And it's not a practice of one day or 1 hour or few years. It is a practice of every day and every moment. And there is nothing wrong, because we are not able to follow practice. As and when we become aware, we go to it and we work again. So this is something which is offered by the yogic sciences, by Patanjali, by the yogic system. There are a number of things that we cannot really talk upon, and there is no meaning if we don't really do this and then we have 100 things, then again it's a impurity for us. So what is important, that whatever we have, 1 or 2 practices that we take, clean the previous clutter, previous impurities, and at the same time putting the new filters of attitudes. There are a number of attitudes that you can have in whole Yoga Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, and all the texts. And no matter if it's Yoga Sutra, or you don't need to actually have access to this, but if you start doing some forms of meditation, awareness, mindfulness, you will come to conclusion by itself, and that will be your way. So we are not trying to put you in a case that no, you should practice Sutra number 133 in Yoga Sutras only if you want to have a filter, because this is my filter. No, you make your own filter. Like in India, we have a mask initiative. You don't need to buy the mask from the market. You make your own mask. In the same way, by your own experiences, with your practice, you will be able to come up with the right filters for you, that what are those impurities that you are exposed to most of the time, and you clean yourself with it. I think that is enough. If you have any questions.
That was really good, enlightening. And thank you very much. Any questions, anyone? I think there was one question that was asked regarding, I think for purification or whatever, can mantras be used?
However, this is not related to this lecture, but this is a random question, which I think I will not answer. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, because this is the topic we focus here. We are talking about this and you are talking about that. Means you are not listening. Sorry.
I think it was on purification of the mind that they were talking about. Irene is the one.
It is very good way of doing that. No problem. You can have, if you know the mantra, if you have the mantra, use it. So as I said, all the practices all practices, and mantra is one of them. So they
Yes.
definitely something to do with it. Yeah,
Did I
these
ask the
four
right
attitudes
question?
are,
Right?
somebody has asked one question about the four attitudes.
Yeah.
They are friendship, cultivating an attitude of friendship to those who are happy, attitude of compassion to those who are miserable, attitude of joy to those who are meritorious, an attitude of indifference to those who seems to be sinful. For more, chapter 1, sutra number 33, refer to it for more clarification and understanding of that.
Yeah. There is one more question. What could be the reason, psychosomatic reason for diabetes? Somebody had asked.
Yes, diabetes is something to do with glands, endocrine glands, which is something to do with emotions. Means that this person is having intense emotions, particularly anger. So, or all many other emotions, they are constantly pressurized into the abdominal region, which leads to this disbalance into the your blood sugar, and then organic changes happens into your body system. So mainly regulation of emotions. These people has extreme of emotion, very angry, very happy. This is one of the characteristic of the diabetic people. Extremely, like they want to do things, and if nobody is following them, they really feel bad and angry and unhappy, and that causes the pressure inside their own sweetness. The sweetness is manipulated because you are not sweet. If you have the fire, you burnt your sweetness.
That's beautiful answer. And
Thank you. Anything else?
yeah, and I think yes, we would like to really thank you, because it has been very enlightening and it was very good, especially where how the emotions and, children, especially for the children, what you talked about for the children when they get cold in the young age, and how, parents actually just tell them to take it away, or, think of something else, or give them some medicines and, compress it, and then it comes up later in life. That
Yeah,
is,
because the cause of it is separation of the body and mind, which has been injected into this generation of the parents, because we think we are scientific and we don't know the relationship. But by this time, because of the hard lessons we have learned, we have to review our map of reality again and see whether it is right or wrong with our own conscience rather than believing any fake science.
that's true.
Because the science itself has changed over the time. Now the science what we studied in our childhood is not the same science that our children study.
No.
If the science changed over the time, what is the science? It means something is wrong.
Yeah,
So we have to be a little bit thoughtful about that.
that is true. That's true. It's really
Yeah.
something to think about, how the whole society is changing and how this changes are happening and how it is affecting the whole society actually.
Yes, yes, exactly.
What it was at one time, united family to nuclear family, and, going away.
Exactly. So then we had many ways of pacification of emotions.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a lot of fight and your emotions are gone, so
Yes.
your pancreas or your liver, they function better after that.
Yeah.
Now we keep this into our container and then container is blast.
It
And it
becomes
becomes
full and it overflows. That's
yeah,
true.
and we don't have the proper outlet to that.
That's true. So just by
So
doing
we
yoga
don't.
on regular basis, do you think this will resolve, or is it there something else that has to be done besides just doing yoga?
Sorry, I did not get your question.
Just by doing yoga on regular basis, okay? I mean,
Yes.
aware of any psychosomatic problems or anything, we just tell people to do yoga every day. Will this create a change within them, or?
Yes, it will definitely create change. Now, what happens with it? People get mechanical in it, and then after no change. So they need some
mechanical
fix.
in it, okay.
No. When you get mechanical, you get the slap. If you get it, then you are correct.
So the awareness has to be there while doing
exactly. And for that, either you can be the same person who does this for yourself, no problem. And if you can't, then you have to have somebody else.
Yes. There is one more question. How do we handle the deep-rooted issues?
What are those deep-rooted issues? I don't know.
Anybody wants to talk? Milind, you want to? Shall I unmute you?
It may become a little bit personal, so it is better that we don't open this chapter.
Okay.
Because then you say things and I will say something and it will create more tension.
If they give more information, I will send it to you and you can answer.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for we appreciate the time and effort that you have taken to come over and, and give us this beautiful, I mean, I think it is really eye-opener kind of talk that is there. And we are very grateful for that. And
thank you very much. And because of Kavita, I have to do it because I think she wanted to.
Because of Kavita, we have met you also. Thank you, Kavita.
So thank you, Kavita, and thank you to you also.
Yeah. As a token of appreciation, we would like to give you a certificate, which we'll send it across. Yeah. And this is
no problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you all the viewers who are here for today. Had this, hope everybody benefited from this talk. Yeah. And let us again, if there is any questions that you have, you can put it onto the chat box and then we will ask him and then we'll get back to you on his replies that is there. And so let us meet tomorrow for Dr. Mamta's talk on Dinacharya, Ayurvedic way, how lifestyle change can benefit, you towards a healthy and physically, mentally and emotionally healthy person. Yeah? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you. All the best for your all
Bye.
events. Yes. My best wishes for International Yoga Festival to everyone.
Yes, same to you.
Thank you.